right, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on wherever you are, what time you are listening to this new podcast episode by yours truly, one and only, Big Steph. Right? I mean, I'm not saying Big Daddy, but Big Steph. You know what I mean, man. So again, guys, it's been a while since I posted the last episode. So please, if you stay with me throughout this struggle and everything, I appreciate you. Your boys went through a little bit, but we're back, and again, we stay consistent because I have program episode already ahead of time that will keep, loading up or getting published by the podcast provider as time goes on. So that's why you guys probably didn't feel like I wasn't around. It's because episode kept posting. But we are back again, and we got some new for you. Like I said, we are getting ready to go live, whether it's on Facebook and YouTube and all those live streaming app. Man, I'm building my studio as we're speaking, so it's costing a little bit more money than I thought. And I'm a one-man band, right? I mean, technically a couple band, right? So me and my wife, we're doing this, or I do this, and she just support me. You know what I mean? Let the brother out there and get his talk on. You know what I mean? But anyway. So if you've been staying with me throughout this journey, please, I appreciate you. Thank you. I encourage your friends to subscribe. We talk about culture. We talk about relationship. We talk about lifestyle. We talk about economy. So we talk about a little bit everything, but everything that we do is ties into culture, right? Cultural differences. We have to accept people the way they are. Sometimes because, it depends on their upbringing. And mine is, as you know, from Cameroon, West Africa, right? So speaking of Cameroon, we have a guy. I don't know what country is in Africa. I forgot to ask, but he has a story today, right? And that is why I'm here. I'm here to put your story out there. I don't give you a name or anything like that, and you can go ahead and recognize yourself. Obviously, because you send the story, or because maybe I caught the story somewhere and it got my attention, right? So he's writing because of this. The man, he has 3 kids with 3 mothers, right? So, and what is going on is he made sure every single mothers put their kids in contact. So whenever he will go to meet the kids, he will always make sure he pick all of them at the same time. Say, this is your brother, because it's 3 kids with 3 mothers. So he's always making sure that they are together. He makes sure they do things together. He makes sure they knows that they are the same blood, and he makes sure that they know that family come first. Like always he should. Family come first. And he makes sure that he put a good education into his kids' head. Now, he moved in the U.S., right? He moved in the U.S. and struggle, work hard. The U.S. is one of the greatest country on earth, man. Maybe the greatest country on earth, man, because there's a lot of opportunities out here, and that is what is going on. He was able to get a good life, and he decided that, okay, it was time for him to bring all his kids over here with him, to give them a better future, better education, better opportunities in life, at least get a shot at life, So he contacted every single one of his kids' mother, and he's like, I need my son to come here. When they come here, when they are 18, they can bring you guys here as well. So in which the mothers were all okay, online with it, right? So he take the first one. He start raising him, and then a year he takes the second one, and then the first 2 are asking like, where's our brother, so he decided to go ahead and do the paperwork for the third one. But let me put this in context, right? So whenever you're trying to bring your kid here, right? Because the way the U.S. citizenship, the way you bring family here under I believe I-130 visa is this, right? Parent can bring their kid as long as they are under the age of 18. I believe, no, under the age of 21. You can bring your child here, right? If you move out here, you're a parent, you can bring your child here, especially if you're here legally, right? By here, I mean the United States. So what happened is he brought the first 2 through DNA tests, right? Because when you go at the U.S. Embassy, if they are not so sure, they will ask for DNA tests to ensure that this is really your child you are trying to bring. And that is exactly what he did. He did the DNA test for the first two, so he knew for a fact these are his kids. And I'm sure that you guys are already seeing where this is going. But let me finish the story. So he decided to go ahead and bring the third child, right? The third child. And when they asked for a DNA test, they went ahead and they did it. Came to find out this is not his son. He was like, wait a minute, what is going on? So the DNA test didn't match. But at home, he has the other two kids. They're asking for their brother. And he doesn't know, like, as a parent, should he tell his kids, like, he's not your brother because their mom lied or maybe cheated in a relationship and try to pin a child on him. And now he himself is very attached to the child because it remind you, he thought all these years long that this was his child or this was his son. And all of a sudden he finds out through DNA test by the embassy that this is not his child. The DNA test didn't match. So now he's devastated, right? He's trying to figure out how to proceed. Now, he told the mother. He hasn't told the son that yet. He didn't tell his son yet, but he told the mother, like, hey, DNA, the embassy is saying, no, that he's not my son, that the DNA. The mother said, oh, there must be a mistake somewhere or whatever. But the thing is, DNA test is one of the things that doesn't lie, right? Unless there may be a confusion somewhere where somebody swapped DNA. But I don't see the reason why people would do that. So on DNA test, that is not lying. That doesn't lie. So he doesn't know what to do. He's stuck. Should he tell his son, number one, that I'm not your father? I'm your father, but I'm not your. I'm not the one that implanted the seeds, and he's trying to figure out how to navigate with. Should he tell his son, like, son, you are not my son? But the kid is too young to understand because the kid only knows him as the father, right? So the child is in a situation that he doesn't even know, and the father is also in a situation that is unfamiliar to him, right? Because he's familiar to saying, this is my son, and the other brothers, they don't also know what is going on, why the father hasn't been able to bring their brother with them, because, again, they were always used to doing things, the three of them, right? The father always makes sure that even though they are different mother, that they understand. We, in Africa, they don't usually like to say use the term half brother. Like, they don't like that term. They usually always say, this is my brother, such and such. Even when the parents are not the same, but you guys grew up in the same house, they would just say brothers, right? That's how we grow. We grow in a gathering community where people come together to grow up. And sometimes you just go to an uncle house and just finish your school there, grow there, and he will say, this is my son. Like, they don't say, oh, that's my nephew and things like that. No, they just say, this is my son. And that is what is going on. He always said, this is my son. And the other brothers always say, this is my brother. They didn't see it as half brother or anything like that. So now, how does he tell his other boys, like, hey, he's not my son? Like, how would that go? He's stuck right there. He's asking for help and advice on, like, what is the best way to proceed. Now, when the embassy finds out that it's not your son, obviously, they are not going to give a visa. So no matter what he tries, he can be like, oh, I raised him, and like, they are not going to give him the visa because there's no blood relation there. So he's asking. I don't know, because my first thought was adoption, but in certain countries you have to be a certain age to be able to adopt, especially when you're a parent. Like, you have to, like, I believe in Cameroon is like 35, right? So some of us are not able to adopt yet, right? So because in Cameroon, I believe it's 35 years old, and you have to show a certain level of income, right? So sometimes the income is not the problem, just that some of us could adopt our niece that we literally pay for all their school or whatever, but the embassy will not, not the embassy, the constitution doesn't allow it. You have to be at least 35, right? So that is where another problem is. Now, What do you guys advise this man? And I just feel really, really bad for him, because could you imagine, you raise a child, you know this is your child and everything, and all of a sudden you find out it's not your child, not even like on your own, but by like some consulate at the embassy telling you that, hey, this is not your child, man, the DNA didn't match. Oh my God, like I can only imagine, right? And you're a parent, you saw this boy, so he's still obviously very attached to the boy, because it's been years. It's kind of hard. It's not something you just wake up and be like, oh, this is not my son anymore. It's like, trust me, it's something very, very, very difficult. It's very, really hard to let it go, even when it's not like your biological child, because you still see the person as your child, right? And you want to be able to still, I guess, catch up and doing all these things, but they are telling him at least he can catch up, he can go meet the boy, but he's asking if anyone out there know of other ways he can bring the son around. So please feel free to reach out if you hear this podcast and let us know if there's any other ways, because I personally only know the I-30 route, but that has to do with genetic, and that one is the one he tried and it didn't work out. So please, if you know any other thing out there, any way of bringing his son here, please feel free to let me know. And my IG again is BSteph77 Beast, like an animal beast, and Steph STEPH 77, right? So please feel free to go ahead and write on my IG and let me know if you have other way of doing it, right? And reach out to the podcast, leave a comment or whatever, and I will pass the information along. That being said, that was this podcast episode. I know it's short and sweet. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to talk just to talk. I was precise, going to the point, and I appreciate all the fan out there. Again, we are getting ready to go live. Please subscribe, support your boy, Big Steph, and so that I can go ahead and put all this studio together. And I have guests. I have people from that speak different languages. They will be intervening in the podcast as far as language is concerned, like how you pronounce certain way and everything. I myself speak multiple language, but I guess you already knew that, right? So now I have a true expert for the show that will be doing that. I have other females, I have some friends that I don't want to give the name out yet that will be also intervening in the show. I have the big homie that is out there in Colorado, you know who you are, that will be intervening in the show. So please feel free to go ahead and support us, like the podcast, and be ready for when we go live. That being said, God bless. Peace. Big Steph.